Hi, my name is Reagan DeLemus. Welcome to the beginning of a series I'd like to call Preparing for the Concert Moshpit. In this series, I'm going to be talking about the small things like what merch you should be saving up for to buy, all the way up to how to prepare for the actual concert moshpit with a workout plan. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe and share this with your friend. Let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about is layout and pricing. Now, if you're working on Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, whatever, you will be able to tell if it's a free seating venue or if it's a fixed seating venue. A free seating venue will have like one or two, depending on how many levels there are to the venue. The lower, sometimes, most of the times being a bit more expensive since you are closer to the artist, but there will be cheaper tickets from further away. The floor seats and the elevated seating will be around the same price. The elevated seating will usually be a little bit cheaper. So for the fixed seating, we're using a stadium as an example. And you see all these little dots right here, just all around. These are all going to be different pricing. And since it's a stadium, you can imagine that the big artist that's going to be performing there is going to have, even if it's in the very, very back, you're still going to be paying around $100. Now, the closer that you get down to the stage, the more you're going to be spending money. If you get to about right here, you're going to be spending $300 to $500 to get this close to the artist. And for me personally, that's not really worth it. So before you start buying your tickets, make sure that it's a free blanket priced venue over a fixed seating venue. You don't want to be sitting down the entire time. You don't want to be stuck in stadium seats. And just really quick, I'm just going to play a video on why I don't think you should be sitting at a concert.
Hold on. Yeah. Yo, we got a problem. The crowd isn't moving. What's going on? I take this side, you take this side. Freestyle live. Killer, here we go. Like the waxy residue on your rhyme style is ridiculous. If you're misogynist, then you probably cannot get with this. If you sip with this, we'll leave no witnesses. See, nobody can touch one job less, and I mean this. So I'll be like Osiris, ready to get the mices. If you talking females, it's to say that I'm the nicest. Watch the sexy up my crew, he be the lyrical prophet. If you put the fat beat on the freestyle, he will drop it, yo. I come with many gifts. Who's to be my nemesis? If you want to battle this,
Now, as you saw in that video, the first thing that they said was that there was no energy in the entire venue. And why is that? Everybody was sitting down. How are you going to be like, dude, you start jumping around in your seat? Nobody's doing that. If you're sitting and there's one person standing in front of you, you're like, oh, okay, well, now I can't see the artist. Now I have to stand up. And then you just got a weird chain going on where you got like a puddle of people that were sitting down, but now they're standing up because one dude was like, yeah, I love Lauryn Hill. Like,
oh yeah, and one more thing. At the very end of the clip, you just see everybody's energy go right back down to zero, man. That guy was doing windmills with his hands, and then he stopped right when the video ended. And, shout out Lauryn Hill, amazing musician, very talented rapper, but I don't know, the venue selection was just poor on her part. In that situation, and I don't know if that was just like a trend going on, but me personally, bro, do not get me in a seated venue, man. I don't want to sit down.
So now that we've talked about free and fixed seating, now we're going to go over the max capacity and how it affects the crowd in the venue. All right, so the first venues that we're going to talk about are the small ones. We're going to build up as we go. The venues that I used as an example is the Chapel This was under 1,000 people in the venue. Now, one of the biggest pros I will say off the jump is that there was no fixed seating. There were the two options, like the free seating, and I think you actually had to pay a little bit more to be higher up. But why would you pay more to be further away from the artist that you came to see? So I saw that as a very big pro. Now we're going to go down the line and just talk about each one of these. The stage view.
All right, so the very first venue, like I was saying, is the chapel. Here's a little drive-by view because we didn't have enough time. Uh, Very small venue. You guys can see that. And the thing that I want to say is like the smaller the venue, the closer you are going to be to the artist. If you get there earlier, it's even better. I was in, I'll call it dap up range with Leon Thomas at the Independent. But that one, I think it was a little bit bigger. It was, I can't say for sure. The Independent was a max capacity of 500 people, while the chapel was a whopping 1,000, the full max of the small venue.
Ticket price.
Depending on the artist, of course. If the artist is up and coming, the tickets are not going to be that expensive, probably in the $60 to $80 range, maybe even cheaper. There are some venues that make you pay a little bit extra, sometimes for the balcony, sometimes for the floor. Most of the time, you can go wherever since the venue's so small.
Noise clarity.
I can assure you, you will be able to hear every single instrument as clear as day. If you don't feel comfortable with loud environments, make sure you buy some form of earplugs. Okay, the regular earplugs will work fine, but if concerts are becoming a habit, then I would suggest a set of high fidelity earplugs. These will protect your eardrums from the shake of the sound waves while keeping the clarity of the music. The earplugs I bought were from Hear Protect. They're cheap, under $20, and they work great.
Tight space.
And the last pro for the small venues, tight space. You would think that this would be a con, and it can be if you get claustrophobic easily or you don't do the workout plan in time, but it's really not. Once the mosh pit starts, it will be one mosh pit, one big mosh pit. I'll go over the different sections of the crowd in a later video.
And now that we've gone over all of the pros, now we're going to start talking about the cons. Zero big artists.
The biggest artists in the industry are going to be in stadiums. On a rare occurrence, they might do a show in a small venue, but it's very unlikely.
Noise clarity.
I already covered this, but the sound can be overwhelming for some people. Just make sure you have some kind of ear protection. Not all venues are the same. Some will be louder than others.
Parking.
Small venues might only have street parking available. Now, in my opinion, I think the best time to get there is around like 45, maybe 30 minutes if you really want to push it before the doors actually open. But aside from that, the only thing I really need to say about that is to download an app called ParkWiz. It will show you all the parking garages in the area, and you could reserve a spot months in advance. I just did that with a concert that I went to with Jeremy. We went to Boy with Uke, and I kid you not, the parking spot was across the street.
Tight space.
Aside from being claustrophobic or not doing my workout plan, it could be difficult to maneuver through a small venue crowd. People want to keep their spots, whether you're trying to get closer or you're trying to go to the bar. And you know what? I got a funny story about that. The first time that I went to Boy with You, I'm chilling, we're having a good time, and this lady, I'm like, okay, Jeremy, I'm gonna go get us drinks. I'm gonna go get you water. He's like, oh, okay, thank you. And there's a path. There's steps that lead me straight to lead me like right to the bar. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Let me just guide my way through. I'm saying, excuse me, very politely. I try to be a respectful person. And I get to the very, very end, and it's kind of a narrow stairway. And I say, excuse me, because I thought I was going to be, I don't know, I thought I was going to. I won't go on a tangent about it. But this lady cut me off, and she's like, "No, you're gonna take my spot. Take your spot. I'm closer than you, lady. Lady, please let me get by." And she wouldn't let me get by. I had to take the long way around to get to the water and to drop it off. But most of the time people will let you by, so don't even worry about that story. I just thought it was funny.
Moving from the small venues, we're going to be moving up to the medium venues. My example is the Warfield, also in San Francisco, California. And medium venues are 1,000 to 5,000 people max capacity. Now, you notice that the pros and the cons didn't change that much. There's no reason to change them. You're still going to get a great stage view. You're still going to get good ticket prices. The only real big differences are the fact that the big artists, the bigger that the venues are, the bigger or the higher the chance that the big artists are going to be performing there. One con that becomes a pro the bigger the venue is parking. The bigger that the venue is, the more places you'll be able to park. It won't just be street parking like in the small venues. The stadium parking, you'll be around the stadium and so on and so forth, up and down the list.
So if you look around here, this is the front of the Warfield, and if you look immediately to the right, there's a gentleman's club. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But anyway, here's the inside. I didn't really get a real pan of the entire concert. I was focusing more on the music, and I was trying to record for my brother so he could enjoy it too. More on that later. But uh another thing I gotta say is, like, if you're over like 6 foot, more power to you, because you could just hold your arm up really, really high, and you're just towering over all the other people. You don't even need to worry about, oh man, like, am I getting the right angle, through all these arms? Like, nah, bro, you're good. You're good. I was competing with children at this concert, but a win is a win, baby. All right, let me tell you another story. I saw Baby Keem at the Warfield in 2022. The friend I was planning on going with bailed on me a few hours before I was going to leave, and that just left me in like a frantic panic. I was calling random people, and I was like, "Yo, man, you trying to come along, man? Free ticket, free ticket." Like, nah, man, I got work. And you know what? I looked inside, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go alone. And that was the first time that I went to a concert by myself. I was a little nervous at first, like especially in line. Nobody was there that I knew. I didn't really have anybody to talk to until I got inside. Now, once I made it inside of the room,
Bar
it was
closes
full of
and you
interest.
feel like
I told it was
falling
in
down.
April out in San
How
Francisco, so
can
the one
you
year I was in
sit
college when it was all up. I met these two guys once I settled in at my spot. We promised not to split up. And you know what? I finally made a home base. So the concert starts. Tenor Leone opened for Baby Keem. The downside of not doing your research on who is opening is that you can't listen to their music beforehand. At the first concert I went to, Teaser Touchdown was one of the openers. And this was back in 2021 when he didn't have any albums, no big features, nothing. All he had were those singles with like that light blue background, which was sick, but it was just there wasn't really a flow. I the only thing I could do was just shuffle it, shuffle all of his music. I couldn't listen through an entire album. So I listened to a few of the albums or a few of the singles, wasn't really feeling them, and then I went to the concert. Tizo plays Technically, and Technically's chorus goes, "Her favorite spot It's turkey leg hut. She eat it and pray that it go to her butt. She said she vibing with me, but our lifestyles won't sync up. Girl, break my heart if you must. Step on it, turn into dust. Technically, I'm still your crush. Technically, can we still? And then it goes, like it bleeps out. It bleeps out what he's gonna say. And dude, I think that's got to be one of the songs that I heard when I was trying to listen to Tizo for the first time, because I was like, who bleeps out their own music, bro, on the explicit version? Like, I heard you say other curse words in here. What's going on? So I'm upset. I go there. He goes, her favorite spot is Turkey Leg Hut. She eat it and pray that it go to a bus. He said she vibing with me, but our lifestyles won't sync up. Girl, break my heart if you must. Step on it, turn it into dust. Technically, I'm still your crush. Technically, can we still? And I'm like, oh, dude, here comes the bleep. And like, I'm not gonna like cover my ears, but I'm like, okay, yeah, here it comes. And he just goes, fuck. And I'm just like, what, dude, like, or I didn't even realize it until after the fact, because I didn't want to listen to that song anymore, bro. Like, why are you bleeping your own music? So the moral of that story is, if you're not familiar with the openers, especially if they don't have too many songs, play them all through at least once. You can even start at the top and go down to their less popular songs. And that happened here too. Tenna Leon played songs nobody knew, bro. He played Lucky, he played With the Villains, and everybody knew those songs. But yo, he started playing this. He started playing his unreleased album, bro. His new album came out 2 weeks after that concert, bro. It was so cool. And that's another thing that can happen. The artists will just start playing unreleased music, and if you don't listen to their music before, or if they don't like explicitly say it's unreleased, you won't know. Do your research. Thank me later. So Tana Leon finishes his set, and I'm still chilling with my brand new friends, and Baby Keem starts his set. I kid you not, he plays Trademark USA, his intro to Melodic Blue, and the crowd shuffles.
I don't want to go back home.
My new friends are torn away from me, and I see them in bits and pieces throughout the rest of the concert. The concert was so loud, bro. Like, I was really close to that right speaker, so that was not helping at all, bro. And there were so many people moshing in the pit that by the end of the night, my entire hoodie was drenched in sweat. And while I was writing the script, I was trying to remember why I was wearing my hoodie in the first place. So the reason that I met those two people were because the security guard walked away. There were two levels to the ground floor, and the security guard that was blocking the like main, like right in front of the stage, like he walked away for a second. He just disappeared. And these two guys are just like, "Yo, come on, let's get closer." And I go with them, bro. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. And that's when I started talking to them. So anyway, my shirt was soaking wet from my sweat, and my hoodie was drenched in sweat from everybody else. And you know what? I'll show a picture right now of how I looked at the very end of that night. But do I condone sneaking to a better spot? That is a good question. If you're really tall, then no, because I almost got caught during that event Tizo was at. I hopped over this fence, and I kid you not, immediately after I jumped it, the security guards started yelling, checking everyone's wristband. I'm like, oh man, dude, I'm ruining the fun for everybody else. And, like if you're shorter, like the tall people have their advantage in the sense that they could stick their hands up and they could point the camera straight at the concert, right at the stage, right at the artist with no problem at all. But your advantage is you could sneak in super easy and nobody would notice, man. Like, it's a huge advantage to have, and I'm kind of jealous that I don't have it. I'm glad that I have my height, but you know, it's like I said, it's got its pros and cons. It's got its pros and cons. The friend I went with, he jumped the fence later, and I could see him having the time of his life in the mosh pit. I was so jealous, but I still had a great time, even though I wasn't constrained to the spot I had paid for. So I'm a little on the fence about it. I feel I feel better about moving from your spot when you're at a concert than at a basketball game or something, since better lighting, you know, like there's better lighting and there's a lot more security at like basketball games and stuff like that. I'm definitely not sneaking down there. Like, at that point, just if you can't pay for the more expensive ticket, then don't move up there, you know, because I don't know, it's not like you're obviously going to get caught. You're not going to get caught every single time, but I'm just saying, like, don't get banned because you're broke, because then you'll just be broke and you won't be allowed to go to the Kings game, man. Come on. You know, like, yeah, if you don't have the money to be closer, don't try to get closer, but it's really up to you if you want to risk it. I'm going to say no, but trust me, you're gonna have a good time anywhere in the venue. Bro, I walked half a mile already. My sweatshirt is still soaked. Hair is still wet. I gotta die, bro.
The next type of venues are big venues going from 5,000 to 10,000 people max capacities. My example was the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium, also in San Francisco, California. Moving from the pros and cons that will repeat throughout all of the venues, I wanted to talk about the artist demographic. The artist demographic, the bigger the artist, the more that people are going to pay attention to their style. The more that people are going to know all the words to their songs and just have, you know, just have such a great time just screaming their lungs out.
Every once in a while, you'll see some TikTokers, man. I saw this TikToker that was wheeling himself around in a wheelchair, and he just had this big old green sign that read "Mosh Pit here," and that was awesome. And here we are at the Don Toliver concert. Ski Mask was opening, and this is me lifting up that very wheelchair kid. And this is what I do to TikTokers, man. This is what I do to TikTokers. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better. Nobody was harmed in the making of this video.
On the other hand, the cons, the highest injury chance. I'm going to be making a mosh pit workout video very soon, very, very soon. I'm very excited for it. I don't think I've said very enough, but if you don't do the workout video, you're gonna get hurt. If you don't know how to protect yourself in a mosh pit, you're gonna get hurt. It would be best just to stay in the elevated seating if you're not prepared for the mosh pit. That's actually not true. I feel like just stay on the outskirts. So make sure that you come for the mosh pit workout video coming real soon. The other con are tardy cardies. Shout out Playboy Cardi for helping me coin this name. And this doesn't just go for artists that are going to show up late to a concert, like 15, 20 minutes. I heard a while back, like Kanye showed up like at like 10. The concert started at 8 or something like that. And then he left early too. Just, it's just disrespectful, man. Like, you have this audience that, you know, just loves your music, and they're paying you to perform the music that you made and that you love, but you're just gonna pull up late. Like, that's just weird. But tardy cardies are not just artists that are late. They're also artists that don't show up at all or reschedule repeatedly. And that's why I call it tardy cardies, because I was supposed to be going to a Cardi concert like a year or two ago. It was when he was promoting Narcissist. He wasn't even talking about I Am Music.
Yeah, no, this was back in the day, back between like October to December time, when he was like, all right, guys, we're gonna be going on tour soon, and while I'm on tour, I'm gonna be playing some unreleased I Am Narcissist or like narcissist music, and everyone's like super hype about it, and it just never happened. It just never happened. But we got I Am Music. Gotta be grateful, but at the same time, he just like trashed a whole album and then dropped another one. Like whatever. Hey, I'm just gonna circle back to Boy With Uke for the third time in this video. Boy With Uke was late, and that was a small venue. That was Ace of Spades out in Sacramento, California. And while we were waiting for him to pull up, he had chess.com open and he was playing matches, and dog, he was losing, bro. That had me so upset, bro. We met this guy out there. We met this guy while we were in line named Will, and he plays chess.com too, and we're just like, nah, dude, don't do it, don't go there. And then like, bro, let me see if I can find some clips. Hold on. Okay, I found the footage. And the thing that is really infuriating me right now is I checked the timestamps, and the timestamps are 20 minutes apart, bro. It's like 8:30, 8:51. So I'm assuming he started at 9. I'm really hoping he did, but that could not be the case. But the worst part was that he was losing, man. Like I'm just gonna start doing that with this, bro. I really, I started just like, I'm just playing Wii boxing, man. If I lose, bro, I'm gonna show it, bro. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know what kind of upsets me now that we're pointing out the elephant in the room. Even if I win, I still lose points sometimes, and I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Like they knocked me out 2 times. I knocked them out 3 times, and they stayed down, and I still lose 7 points. Like, what's going on with that? So the last thing I will say is never trust a tardy Cardi. He did it this year too, man. I'm never going back to a Boy With You concert. I'm never going back to a Boy With You concert. I'm never going back to a Boy With You concert.
So to close us off with the big venues, the pros are the bigger the artist's venue, the bigger the artist demographic. And the cons, the highest injury chance. Also, the injury chance isn't even that high, okay? Injury, I'd put in the category of injury like overheating, maybe like fainting because it's so warm and everyone's so packed in, but it's very, very rare when people like actually get hurt. And this is all dependent on the concert that you are going to and the artist and how hype it is, so on and so forth. And the final one, the tardy Cardis. If you're dealing with tardy Cardis, just be like a little bit on the edge. Like if they have a reputation for dipping before a show, be a little bit more skeptical when you're buying that ticket. And another thing, if you do pay for the ticket and they do cancel, what will happen is SeatGeek or Ticketmaster, they will give you credits, a credited refund. But if you talk to some type of the help center, the support, then they will give you a full refund on your ticket. So the last thing that I will say about this branch of venues is these are the most common. I prefer these ones more than the ones that are going to be following this one, the more unique venues that you don't get to go to every day. But make sure that you do your research and make sure that you know where the free and the fixed seating venues are.
Los bailes y se compran una botella, ya toman los bailes y se compran una botella.
Now, the next type of venues that we're going to be talking about, the next type, meaning the unconventional types of venues we're going to be talking about, are the outdoor pavilions. And my example is the Greek Theater out in Berkeley, California. The seating can vary from 3,000 to 15,000 for these types of outdoor seated pavilions, but that's my rough estimate. Amazing view.
Before I say anything else, I just want to say how grateful I am to live in California. There are so many different locations I could go to concerts. Anywhere I go is beautiful. There's no drought anywhere. Don't go south. Do not go south. Don't go check down there. Looks like the Dust Bowl and Spoon states down there. Stay away. But just to close it off, man, like, not every spot is going to look like Berkeley with the sunset, you know? Like, this can definitely vary for the locations that you guys live.
Architectural immersion.
Now, team, you have to remember, the pavilions are built to bounce sound around in the most architecturally superior way. Think of the Romans, the first to use the amphitheater. That's you. Are you immersed? I don't know if using amps would affect it, but I didn't hear any negative sound. Like it's not going to bounce too hard against the wall and make it sound muddy. You don't need to worry about anything like that.
Free fixed seating varies.
Moving on to the cons list, I don't know if it is a higher chance of free seating or fixed seating since I've only been to 2 pavilions. I have a 50-50 ratio right now, so just be sure to check the page. Just make sure before you buy. And you could see on the right, you've been watching this entire time. I've been going to so many different angles to shoot this footage. And this is the freedom that you have when you have free seating. And yeah, you could do this with fixed seating, but it's just not the same, because it's like, oh, I can just sit here and I could stay here. This is nice, instead of, oh, okay, I'm recording, oh, I'm in somebody's way, oh, so on and so forth.
Depending on weather and time of year.
Wow, the acoustics are so cool out here, dude. That's cool. I wish I could immerse myself. I really do. There's just one thing stopping me. It's 40 degrees outside. And you can go, Reagan, that's nothing to us Alaska folk. It's negative 32 degrees here year round. And I have never heard of a concert in Alaska. I've never heard of an artist coming out of Alaska either. For this video, I looked up who's come out of Alaska as an artist, and the only person that I recognize is Portugal the Man, who is counting one-hit wonders. And like, Alaska, I love you. Even if you grabbed your warmest clothes, you're stuck in your seat. All you can do is shimmy or stand up to stay warm. And like I said before, that can vary. The Greek was free seating. The Concord Pavilion was fixed seating. And I could say without a doubt, I had such a better time at the Greek Theater. Look for those free seating venues.
Low mosh pit chance.
Now, this one obviously is going to depend on how well the artist is, involving the crowd. It was really good, but you can see in this footage that not a lot of people were jumping to the song. He had really good visuals. He was keeping people involved, but people just weren't jumping to the music, and I was really upset about that, because I've just been listening to Amine for so long, and then I see him in concert, and it was just like, I mean, like, I still had a great time, bro. I have like at least an hour and a half of footage, and I'm kind of glad that I'm putting used to it now. But you got, uh, he had everybody, hopping a little bit, but Kenny Mason, bro, when he played stick, bro, we had a small mosh pit. So yeah, like I said, it really depends on the artist. If the seating is fixed in like the next categories I'm going to cover, I'll just say now pavilion, stadium, or festival, then the mosh pit in them will without a doubt cost an arm and a leg and your car. Do not expect to get mosh pit tickets unless you are ready to pay a lot. It would be best to save your money for a mosh pit for an artist that you have already been wanting to see for years, or for artists that are doing that like one more show before retiring, whatever that means. Like I always hear them saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm retiring. You guys are never gonna see me again. One last show, one last show." And then like 2 years later, they're like, "You know what? I just miss the music so much." And then their crowd's like, "Yeah!" And then all the people that spent I don't know $600 on mosh pit tickets, they're like, "Dude, what was that for?" Or maybe they, it depends. Maybe they had the experience of their life and they're like, "You know what, this is past my time. I'm not going back anymore because I'm an unk." Okay, boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
Okay, now we are going to talk about stadium and arena venues. And the smallest of the arenas being around 15,000 people, the max being 114,000 for a football stadium. The example that I'm using is the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. That is around 17,600 people for their max capacity. Guys, gotta stop real quick again. My bias towards the stadium concerts really affected this one, but let me just stop it and say, this is it. This is the biggest venue that you can see one single artist perform. Think of The Weeknd. Think of Lil Wayne. Think of Taylor Swift. The biggest of the big are here. Better sound.
Guys, I did the math, I did the numbers. If the stadium doesn't have a top, it's gonna sound great. If the stadium does have a top, it's gonna sound even better, with the addition of not having to worry about weather. Imagine the amphitheater with way more people and a top so you don't freeze.
Temperature.
Now guys, what did I just say? This one can vary, but when everyone is sitting together, when the artist has flamethrowers shooting out during the set, you are going to stay up.
Seats for break.
If you are tired of standing, you have your very own, your one and only stadium seat. You can sit in it, you can stand up, and when you get bored or when you get your energy back, and when you get tired again, you could sit in it again. The option is there. Definitely a perk since some venues don't have seats. You don't have to get caught sitting in the middle of the concert, but like I said, you should be sitting on the edges, or if you have a group of friends, have your friends stand around you in a circle while you take your break. It's the best. It's best to go to the corners or the back if you do need to sit down, and you can still watch the show.
Pricing.
Now, I wanted to go to a Lil Wayne concert at the Stockton Arena, but the lowest ticket is $67. And, that's not a problem, right? Wrong. The nosebleeds of the nosebleeds are $67. Now, if I wanted to get some quality seats, I'd be dropping like $200, and that's not even the floor seats. You see where I'm going with this? This is what I was talking about in those earlier, the earlier part where the fixed and the free seating. This is what happens when there's fixed seating, and that's why I'm trying to nail it into your head, not to pay for fixed seating because it's terrible. And like like, yeah, like I love Lil Wayne. He was one of the first artists I listened to growing up, but the price of the ticket in contrast to how many artists are going to be performing makes it not worth it in my mind. Who is Lil Kim? I do not know. That must have been before my time. Please do not hate me for that. And I could go on a list, I could go and listen to their music. I could go in and listen to their music leading up to the concert, like I was saying before, and enjoy them. And when they do perform, I'll have a good time. But I can't justify spending tickets that have a ballpark price to a festival when I'm not when I'm only going to see one or two performers. At least at festivals, you can see at least five artists you want to see. At least. You see what I'm getting at? I hope so.
Definitely fixed seating.
And now you're probably thinking, Reagan, you have told three bad stories about small venues and medium venues, but you still prefer those over the stadiums. What gives? And I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story to explain why I have such a dislike for fixed seating, specifically in stadiums. Travis Scott concert. Tizo Touchdown was opening November 1st, 2023. The concert was held at the Oakland Arena. My friend Anthony brought his sister along, and she's in high school. That comes back into the story later. When we sat down, there's this couple in front of us. We really didn't think anything of it. There were couples everywhere, so why is this one different? So the concert starts, and we're all having a good time. And the lady keeps on looking back at us. I don't know what she was thinking. Like maybe she thinks we're checking her out. Maybe maybe she was trying to write that into the story or something, because we really weren't. I could kind of understand if she thought we looked sketchy, like we were in Oakland. Crazy stuff does happen in Oakland for sure. Like I completely understand. But we were dripped out that day, like nothing sketchy about it, bro. Like we were looking clean. So I'm running through my ideas because there's no reason for her to be looking back as many times as she was. And every time she would look back, I would look away from the concert and stare at her because my mind is trying to figure out why she keeps on turning around. So that was during the Tizo set. There was a little break in between, and there was a little break in between Tizo's and Travis Scott's set, and she might have looked at us like once or twice, but not as much as during the set. So, me and Anthony didn't really mind it at all. So, the three of us, Anthony, his sister, and I, we talked about Tizo's set. We were talking about our favorite parts, and I was talking to Anthony like, "Yo, I didn't know he had a song with da 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 da." And then Travis Scott's set starts. I'm hyped. We're all hyped. And she goes right back to looking at us again. My stadium experience was not ruined because one person looked at me. Let me cook. So she starts staring at us. I'm trying to ignore her. And she starts dancing on her man. I'm thinking, I get it. You got a man. Please stop staring at me while you're doing that. It's making me very uncomfortable. Anthony's little sister is closer to you. Stop messing up her concert footage. But she keeps on going. She's doing the most. Then she starts full on making out with her man. And see, like the first half of this story, I was mad for me and my compadres because she was acting weird for no reason. But now I'm mad for me, my compadres, and the guy. Now, I'm not gonna be brash, or I'm just not gonna be too assuming right now. But I don't know, I just have the strongest feeling that she was not doing that all the way going to the concert. I have a feeling she was not doing that on the car ride there. I have a feeling she only started doing that because she saw her man enjoying himself, listening to an artist he was a big fan of. She was jealous his attention was going to someone else that wasn't her, and she was set on doing something about it. And you know what? That sucks. It really sucks for this guy. I got a feeling he was planning on going to this concert alone. And then she was like, "Oh, we never do stuff together." And then they go. And then this story happens. Maybe she saw us seeing her not being paid attention to and wanted to prove it to us. I really don't know or care why she did it. I already made way too many speculations about this, but I, but that's a big reason why I don't like stadium seating, because you can't get out of situations like that without some type of hassle other than just walking away. Now, the people to our left, super chill guys. They had been at countless concerts. I remember they went to a Post Malone concert back when he was opening for yada yada yada. I don't remember exactly who, but they were not making out in front of a child, so they already won the favorite people for the concert award. Now, have I had positive stadium seat experiences? Yes, I have. And it started off as a bad one, but I just think it's funny looking back at it now. So I'm in the nosebleeds of the nosebleeds, very back of the Golden One Center while Tyler the Creator is performing. And this is during the Call Me If You Get Lost tour. Very fun, you know. I'm pretty sure Tizo opened for him. Yeah, he did. Kaliuchis, Don't Hate Me for Messing Up the Name, Vince Staples, and Tizo Touchdown all opened for Tyler the Creator. And you know they were all off topic, but it was good pricing, man. It was like $90 or something like that for four artists, man. Like, what a steal. So I'm the highest in the room, both figuratively and literally. And then all of a sudden, Tyler the Creator himself from the ground floor, from his yacht, points up directly at me, my high ass, and goes, "I haven't seen any motherfuckers die up there yet." And I had a panic attack, bro. I was freaking out, dude. I thought I was gonna die. So in the end, everything was all right. I didn't die. Nothing happened to me except for a good concert experience. And I could say that for myself. I could say that for the the friend that I went with, and I could say that for my sister, even though we were all in the nosebleeds. And the nosebleeds are not always a bad thing. Okay? They're not as cool as seeing the artist up close, but they still can be a good time. You can still have a good time. No room to mosh. Guys, there's no room to mosh, let alone dance. You are going to be confined to a very small space. And the only thing that could change that fact is if you bring a big old group and you have a full row that you paid for, and then all of you guys can do the wave all by yourself. And and then after that you have like a little bit more wiggle room. It's a win-win, baby. Festival venues. Okay, so these are the biggest concerts that you will be attending. Those and the stadium ones are going to be clashing. They vary from like 20K up. I don't even like it could be huge. I know that in Europe there was like a $40,000, what am I saying? There was a 40,000 person single concert for Travis Scott, and they played Fiend like however many times. It was great. It was great. I know Kanye and Jay-Z, when they went to Paris, they played that song a lot. So my venue example is Head in the Clouds from 21 and 2022. Travis Scott caused the equivalent to a 1.3 magnitude earthquake by playing Fiend 12 times while in Rome. The reason I say Head in the Clouds and not the Rose Bowl is because that was the stadium that they had advertised. But when I got there, we were not in the stadium. I wasn't expecting to be in the stadium, but I was just like a little confused. They should have just said outside the Rose Bowl, but it's cool, whatever. But that one was around 32,000 people. But the venues can be smaller and definitely will be bigger than that. So to start off with the pros, we're going to start with set list of artists. Now you can finally see all of those artists that you have been dying to see all in the same day. Rolling Loud is a great example. There are a few EDM festivals like EDC2. The first year I got to see all the artists I wanted to see when I went to Head in the Clouds. I got to see Joji, I got to see Nicki, I got to see Rich Brian, Audrey Nuna, Sweetie was there. It was awesome. And there were artists that I didn't know too much about, but my friend Victor introduced me to Keshi, who introduced me to Keshi. And he put me on, on some other special guests, Alinium, which I didn't know who was from the Bay Area. But now, I listen to his music every now and then. But, electric isn't really my style. But that's another pro. Now, the next year they brought Teriyaki Boys out. They were the ones, for the people that don't know, who made Tokyo Drift. And, they were throwing shirts in the crowd, and I actually got one. I gave it to my friend Victor, and it was sick. Yeah, he was definitely the bigger fan. So he, bro, he reps it, bro. He reps it, and I'm really happy for him too. And I was gonna tell a story about Tokyo Drift and the Teriyaki Boys, but I'm a not say that right now, bro, because like I don't want it to bite me in the butt or anything. It was just some stuff that I didn't know about the song, but now I do. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll go on to the next thing, I guess.
Special guests.
I would say that the chance of a special guest coming to a festival has the highest probability compared to all the other venues on this list. It's rare to get a special guest. Unless you live in the Bay and you go to a smaller, medium venue, or maybe even a large. Large venues usually have a bit more structure, but I'm telling you, a surprise guest can happen anywhere. So that last slide that you were just seeing, I went to a Leon Thomas concert, aka Andre from Victorious, aka Tyrone from Backyardians. He brought out Lil Russell, and I thought it was just some dude doing Lil Russell songs. I thought that was kind of weird, but nah, it was him, bro. I was surprised. Now, the last clip that you saw just then, that was Ben Gibbard, and he was featured in a Toro y Moi song called Hollywood. And that last one, if you didn't notice the giant Teriyaki Boys sign, that was Teriyaki Boys, and they put on a show. I had such a great time.
Price.
All right, so the price is going to be an arm and a leg and a card, just like I've been saying this entire time. But I am for the price to artist ratio on this side of the curve. You are definitely going to get your money's worth when making a festival ticket purchase.
Now, the cons. We have forced to prioritize.
Now, what do I mean by forced to prioritize? So a few months before the festival actually happens, you'll see the set list, and the set list will be like the main headliners up at the very top in huge letters, and then there will be like the smaller artists, or the artists that aren't headliners at the bottom. And the less popular they are, the smaller it'll look, the more it'll look like Willy Wonka's contract in the Gene Wilder movie. Now, the size of the artist's name on the set list page doesn't really matter, it's all subjective. But when you get there, you're gonna have to prioritize certain artists over another. Two of your favorite artists could be playing at the exact same time on the polar opposite sides of the venue. Now, for the people that want to know where their priorities lie, I recommend setting up an ABC tier list for the artist that you want to see. A being the most important and absolute top priority that you absolutely need to see, and B, C, all the way down to least important. That you could just be like, I could live without seeing Russ. So you might not be able to see each and every artist that you want to see, and you might not be able to get as close as you're hoping because you're clashing with 20,000 people at least to get as close as you possibly can. And like that can't happen every single time, man. There's gonna be people that like certain artists more than you. So, and that's why I say you gotta set out that tier list, so then you know where your priorities lie. So to stay from getting stuck in a crowd, put your priorities in check.
More walking, less dancing.
Since there's so much going on at a festival, what they will do to keep the performers from muddying each other's sounds is spreading out the stages, and like really far too, man. Like they really don't want any mud anywhere. But aside from the stages, there's also like food stands and stuff like that you can go to. If there is one stage, like that's not an issue. But when there's like multiple, I highly recommend bringing some nice comfy shoes. And you're gonna mess up the fit. You're gonna mess up the fit if they don't look good. But would you rather look all right and feel all right, or would you rather look good and feel bummy? There's no in between, so you gotta make a decision. Also, just a little side note, and this goes for every single venue that you are going to be going to. When you go to a concert, expect your feet to be stepped on. Okay, you can wear those crisp white Air Force Ones, but don't expect them to be crispy by the end of the night, okay? Here's a little trick that I use that will save your feet from getting stepped on. Wear steel toes. You wear steel toe, you get some good insoles for high movement, and you're set. It will take away from the fit, unless you're opium and you're wearing like an all black fit, but you won't have to worry about getting stomped out. Wear steel toes. This is my PSA.
And only select locations.
The big festivals are in bigger spots. Think Miami, think Los Angeles, think Las Vegas, Bay Area, those types of locations. If you don't live in the area, you are not only spending money on the tickets, you are spending money on a hotel or Airbnb, rental car if it's that far away, plane tickets, all that type of stuff. There's a lot more money going into a festival trip than just the ticket. Make sure you budget well for the trip, set aside money for the merch. $200 is more than enough. More on merch in the merch episode, coming soon. This grouping of events, for the most part, will be the only venue in that area. Like I said before, I went to a concert at the Greek Theater for Toro y Moi. What was special about this concert was that Amine and Kenny Mason were performing. And I don't think any other shows on tour got those special guests. They made it their joint event while it was during Toro y Moi's tour. Some artists will only have one single show for the entirety of the US, which is heinous. The Weeknd is an example of this. I don't know why he likes Santa Clara and LA so much. I'm not complaining because I'm a Cali boy myself. But every time he drops an album, I feel like he doesn't even go on tour. He only pulls up to Santa Clara and Los Angeles. There is one more type of venue that I saved, the best for last. I hope you guys like these types of venues.
Now, the final venues that we're going to be talking about are the unconventional venues. I'm talking about Denny's. I'm talking about bars, Mountain Mike's. I'm talking about skate parks, all that jazz, man. If you see some people, roll the clip.
What's up? What's up? What the fuck is up, Diddy?
These usually vary from like 20 people up to 100, maybe even 150 if you're really pushing it. But I can't imagine 150 people showing up to a Mountain Mike's or a Denny's. Definitely, quite possibly a skate park. But now, let me put the pros and cons for both. Now that you see all of the pros and cons, let's go through them, starting with local groups.
Unless you live in a city with big artists and they're trying to throw an event up for nostalgia, your local spots will have local groups. And the other day, I was given the opportunity to spend some time with my friend's group, Aggravated Assault. They were performing out in Livermore at a bar, and I was going just for fun, but I also decided to bring my camera and take pictures. I had a really good time. And even if you don't really like the genre that your friends are performing in, I still highly recommend going and supporting them because I know that it means a lot to them. They like seeing some familiar faces, and like my friends, like they don't crack under pressure. But seeing your friends in the crowd is such a mental boost. It's like, hey, you know what? Like, even though they don't like the music, they're still coming out to support me, man. And they're going to remember that.
Cheap tickets.
In the early stages of a musician's career, they're looking more for exposure. Like, the money's definitely a bonus, but they're just looking for people to, grow an audience with, to build a community. So for the most part, the tickets will be free. And if they're not free, they're gonna be super cheap, like $20 tops. And what's stopping you from dropping $20, bro? Bring a date, bring a friend. Like, honestly, just go by yourself, man. Just go and enjoy some music for a couple of hours.
Unpredictable outcome.
Now, the best part about these unconventional venues is that there are no safety regulations, yo. So that means that anything can happen, bro. There was a story that the drummer for that band Aggravated Assault, Kevin, he was telling me that at a Mountain Mike's, somebody got up into the rafters and was swinging around, man. Like I said, anything can happen at these types of shows. So please make sure that you're being safe and respectful.
They all had an impact on our lives.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Back in 2019, this was when all of those artists were passing away. Another, there were drug overdoses, some people were on. I'm talking about like Lil P, XXX, all of them. And at the very, I think this was around the time. No. It was right before the obviously we didn't. So we're celebrating. This wasn't a concert, bro. This was a celebration. And we're having a great time. We filled out the bathroom. All the boys in high school. Dude, we get kicked out of the bathroom. Dude, me and us get in trouble. No, I said we're being safe and we're being respectful. Don't. Okay, that was a bad cut. But you get what I mean. Like, everybody, we weren't trashing the bathroom. We weren't breaking windows and shutting down the lights, anything like that. We were just being respectful. And this has got to be one of my favorite moshpits of all time.
And possible deals and discounts with the local stores.
There may be a promotion the spot has for the people attending the event, like cheaper beers, 2-for-1 deals, stuff like that. The concert should be good for all parties involved. the performers, the hosts, and the crowd.
Moving on to cons, we have limited parking.
If you thought that the small venues parking was bad, try and park in a Little Caesars parking lot, man. Try and park at a skate park. The skate park, okay, you know what? The skate park wouldn't be that bad, you know, because they prepare for this type of stuff. You know, like, you know, a skate park isn't just a skate park for the most part. You know, sometimes there's like a soccer field or some type of basketball court around. It's some type of community center. But for the ones that aren't skate parks, it's gonna be terrible.
The view of artists will vary.
I attended a show where I think it was 3 or 4 bands performed inside of somebody's house, and you know, it was a great set, but there was a wall blocking the band the entire time. I couldn't see. There was a physical division between the band and the crowd. I had to show full screen so you guys could fully see what I mean. I gotta commend the band for that. I'd not been to a concert in a single family house before, and notice how there's no con of lack of hearing. You will be able to hear everything a little clearly. But if you, as you can see in this video right here, this is the ending of Under Ego's set at the skate park, and you know, you can see everything. There's nothing wrong with this view at all. So like I said, you can really vary. Now, this is what I call a false con. The more outlandish the place that you're watching the performance, the more you get to hype it up. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being in a single family home, bro. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's hilarious. The only downside is that you can't fit more people into this single family home. So to finish this part off, I gotta say, wherever your single family home is, just make sure that you're having fun. If you're bringing friends, make sure they're having a blast too, and just have a good old time.
And once again, unpredictable outcome.
Guys, do I even need another example? Let's just go right back to that Mountain Mike story. Hanging from the ceiling, if he fell, that'd be a quick lawsuit for they could sue the band, they could sue the people that were hosting, and if he landed on someone who wasn't ready to catch him, that's even worse. They ended up yelling at him to get down, but just make sure that the unpredictable events going on at these non-OSHA approved venues are positive ones. Okay?
But thank you for watching. Those were all the different types of concert venues. I hope you enjoyed. I hate to say this, but there is no best concert. For me personally, my favorite are the big venues, the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. Those are near and dear to my heart. I truly do love those. Who knows? You could have just like a huge passion for stadium concerts. I will never understand it, but that could be your preference. But I encourage you guys to go out and check them out for yourself. The next video in this series is going to be, should you go to a concert alone? And that one's going to be a lot shorter, maybe like a 5-minute video tops. But I'm very excited for you guys to see it. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.